All right, everybody, we are live. So welcome to the Indie Show. I'm your host, Joey Vitale, and with me today is Kate Brockmeyer. I'm so excited to have Kate on. Before I introduce Kate, I wanted to kind of speak to you guys directly. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the Indie Show. Again, my name's Joey Vitale. I own Indie Law, a law firm for creatives, and part of the main motto of Indie Law is that your business isn't really worth protecting until it's successful. That type of mindset has helped me a lot as a business owner. It's helped a lot of my clients kind of get to where they are. And so each week I try and bring on business pros who I know have really kind of learned the business side to what it takes to build a thriving business. And Kate is like my prime example of someone who's done that. So I'm going to do a quick little intro of Kate before I let her introduce herself. So Kate is like I'm not going to call her my business coach because I know she doesn't really like that term, but she's my business catalyst and mentor and kind of like the BFF of Indie Law in a lot of ways. So we met last year. I had just kind of had the seeds of this current law firm in place, wasn't really sure how to do it, had never run a business before, had kind of partnered up with people before on things, and really understood that I didn't know what to do when it came to marketing, sales, kind of running the ends of a business. And Kate, you're getting a lot of love right now in the comments.
No, right?
And so I met Kate and I was like, here's what I want to do. She's like, that's awesome. Like we speak to the same crowds of people. I would love to kind of help you get to where you want to be. And then I told her kind of, well, here's my marketing plan kind of, and here's my pricing plan kind of, and here's how I think I can start it. And she was like, yeah, we should talk because there's a lot of stuff I can do to help you out. And so ever since then, Kate has been really, really, really helpful. When it came to me building a business that hit a point of sustainability and was thriving and keeping me focused on kind of what the main values of my firm are. And now she's got a really awesome new business where she's helping small business owners figure out, if what they want to do as a creative business owner is really something that they want to run when it becomes successful, because owning a business is hard. And then second, getting that business to a place of thriving and sustainability. And so with that said, I'll turn it off to Kate. Kate, introduce yourself to the folks.
Hello, you guys. How are you? I am Kate Brockmeyer, as Joey said, and I'm the founder of Be Badass and Brilliant, where we help people ignite their inner badass and get lit about their passions. And it's been so fun to work with Joey. Like, we've been working together since December now, and it's been really incredible to even just see the transformation when you work intensively with someone from ground zero to where they are 6 months later. And I feel like there's a lot of business coaching out there. There are lots of programs. There are lots of things going on. And, you know, when I think about hiring someone or people figuring out who they're going to hire, right, I think they need to hire somebody who's really been there. And I always joke that I have eaten the ramen noodles. I have done the pasta with the frozen veggies, with the Parmesan cheese and the butter for days on end. And then I always joke that my kids will be like, oh, are we broke, right? Like, what's going on? Why are we eating this? And so I love what I get to do every day is to wake up and help people just really catalyst their businesses. And I got to bring in my co-founder, Rachel Sparks, was an amazing woman who does all of the soul development of our world. And I've been in business since I was 19 years old. So I've gotten to do a lot of really cool shit over the years and be in cool places with people, and nothing's slowing down anytime soon. So thanks, Joey. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm so excited to be here. And I mean, Kate and I know each other really well. And so I usually don't have a kind of long, like detailed script for how these shows go, especially with Kate. I know that we can kind of keep this informal, and, you know, if you guys have any questions to ask, I've got them rolling up here on the screen so I can bring them up with Kate. But I mainly want to get to the heart of one of the things that I've learned from Kate that's been crucial to my business, which is understanding the difference between marketing and sales. And I'll go in a little bit more in kind of my story and how I learned that difference, but I want to start talking about the topic by having Kate tell a story that she told me when we started, and I was like, blah, blah, blah marketing and blah, blah, blah sales, and she could tell that I was kind of wrapping those two together, and then she was like, Joey, here is how those two minds see the same thing differently.
As you were saying that, I was like, oh crap, what story is this? But I know now I'm in. So a friend of mine actually who owns Atomic Revenue told me this, and I have like pocketed it and held on to it, and it has been a really great way to differentiate between sales and marketing. And the way this works is if sales and marketing both go to a conference, right? One of these big conferences that people pay $10,000 for a table to have this at this event, right? Marketing goes and they collect 3,000 emails. And they're like, hell yes, that was the best freaking event. We're doing it every year. That was totally worth our 10 grand. Awesome. Sales goes in, they go to the same event, they go through that event, and they look at what's going on, and they say, holy shit, that was the worst event of our lives, because although we have 3,000 emails, there are only 3 people on that email list that maybe might buy our product, and even then, they're not our target market, and they don't have our pain points. And so what happens is when we get into business, we get really caught up in the pretty, in the glitz, in the Facebook ads, in the marketing. I've had clients that'll throw money at things, and when I sit down with you, I go through and we look at everything they're spending money on. And we really evaluate, like, is that worthy? Is there a return on investment? And a lot of people dislike me. Social media managers, content writers, a lot of those people dislike me because they were some of the first people that I'm like, cut that out. Let's reevaluate. 3 months, we can look at bringing that back in. But in the meantime, we need to really look at like where the money's going and what the ROI is. And I've found recently that ROI is a term that I feel like has fallen off the grid in regards to business, right? Like, yeah. I even said it to a very good friend of mine, and she was like, I don't know what that means. And I was like, dude. So I'm going to break it down for you guys really quickly. ROI is return on investment. And you want to make sure that whatever you're investing in for marketing is coming back to you. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
If anybody has any questions about that, like, feel free to throw down and ask me anything, because I will go into that.
I see that Politician is on, Ann is on, Lisa Carter Arnell just joined, and so we've got some really good people in the group. If you guys have kind of questions, or you want to follow up, or take the time to leave a comment that just kind of says yes, like this, this topic resonates because so-and-so just happened to me recently. But yeah, I agree with you, Kate. I think that the idea of ROI gets lost sometimes. I know that for me, it's very easy, especially as a business owner, because we all do some type of marketing. And I think part of the reason why business owners spend more time on Facebook or whatever than they should, and I'm guilty of this all the time, is you put something out there and you want to see if there's an ROI. And so you just watch the numbers grow and you kind of see how traffic did. And then you say that was the win. Okay, like this post did well because it got so many views. But views don't mean anything if they don't affect the bottom number of how things are going. Right.
Well, and like a lot of people spend a lot of their time outreaching and sitting in Facebook groups, and they're, going out to 30, 40 networking meetings a month, but they're not seeing an increase in their business. And you can have the best website, the fanciest business cards, the best logo, and if you don't have any sales, you're not actually in business. And people get really offended when I say that, and they get so pissed off.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to, but you don't. And that's really the piece where I really like to come in and go at it with people, is that, if you're not making revenue, you're not in business.
We just got an amen from the group, Kate.
Hello, Christopher. Good, he agrees, right? Awesome.
So let's, before we take this too much further, let's talk about what does that sales mindset mean? What does that mean that you're focusing on?
Yeah, so when I encourage people to focus on sales, I want them, like Joey, when we very first started, and we're kind of moving back into some of that, but I want my clients in 7 to 10 sales meetings a week. which means that when you interact with someone, if you're going to cold email them, you're not going to end the email with a line that says, I look forward to learning more about your business. That makes it a one-to-one and not a sales call. And so what I want people to do is focus on hitting a revenue number before you go out and build a fancy website or get business cards or do a logo. You actually don't need those things. That is something that people have decided over the years is a must-have, but you don't need that until you're at a certain place in your business and in your revenue. And then marketing might have a role, right? Where like, I'll give you an example. A client of mine recently called me and was like, hey, I want to sponsor a hole at your kid's golf tournament. And I was like, awesome. And then I stopped her and I was like, wait a minute. There's no one in that room that's going to be your target market. So don't invest there and instead invest in B3 Core. Like it's the same price, actually $1 cheaper. The hole was $100. B3 Core is $99 a month. And I was like, invest in B3 Core for 1 month. If you only want to stay for 1 month, do it for 1 month. But don't put your money into that if you're just pissing it away, right?
Yeah. So here's why, and I don't think we've talked about it in this way before, Kate, but I was thinking last night, a lot of people in like the marketing world talk about funnels, and I think there's truth to that. But when it comes to sales, like that's like the bottom of the funnel. That's like when they say yes and they buy into you. And I follow, there are a handful of attorneys who are very, very good at what they do and are helping other attorneys in like an effective way. And a lot of the two of them that I follow talk about the idea of when you run a business, you've got a before unit, a during unit, and an after unit. So before unit is what do you do to get those clients? During unit is what do you do while you have them? What does that caseload look like or whatever? Then after unit is what am I doing to make sure that I'm maintaining a good relationship with them? In the lawyer world, especially if you're doing like litigation, usually they don't become repeat clients, but they could become like referral or whatever. And so you want to make sure that you're top of mind with them. But I say all of this because the before unit is that funnel. And marketing and everything else has a place, but on the one hand, like you said, like sales is the most important part of it because you have to get people to the bottom of that funnel. But on the flip side of that is, and you tell me if I'm thinking about this wrong, but I feel like if you can figure out the sales, then it makes that funnel so much more effective. Because then when people come in, you actually know how you want to point them in to buy from you.
Well, and here's what sucks about business right now, right? Is that 15 years ago, when you went out to start a business, you legitimately had to think through what are the pain points of my buyer? What am I offering them that's different than my competitor? Who am I really going after? You actually had to really know those things or you really couldn't be in business because there wasn't these third-party platforms. There wasn't internet. There wasn't any of that. And so you had to go door to door. You had to get out and beat the street. You had to host workshops. You had to be in front of people all the time. And what makes a business really successful is knowing how to create those systems, organize your space so that you do run all 17 hats, but knowing where all of those things come together, but also understanding that I'm a big believer right now that people do not buy from you because they click on your fucking website, they get a free workshop, they do a free webinar, they buy a $25 webinar, a $49 webinar, and then boom, all of a sudden they're paying you $1,000 a year. I don't believe that. Like, I think that's bullshit. And I just don't think, and I think there's a lot of like BS that people are constantly fueling because of the internet all the time that sets people up for failure in business before they ever even get started. How many times do we talk to someone that doesn't know their buyer's pain points? They're like, I've never heard of that.
Yep.
Okay. So, there's this fine line between copying what other people are doing and trying to do it yourself and actually having like a legitimate space to leverage and to build business from completely organic. I've never read any of I didn't even know who Richard Branson was. Okay. So for anybody that follows like these online big guru guys, I had no idea. I think actually Joey was like, oh yeah, like Richard Branson. And I'm like, who the hell's that? Like, I don't have any idea. Actually, I think my buddy Michael Green too. And so everything I've built business development wise has been like my own organic content from doing it every single day, eat, sleeping, and breathing it, right? And so when we talk about filling these funnels, you have to, Joey and I had a late night conversation last night, actually. There is no vacation when you're a business owner.
I'm going to bring that up too.
I know, right? You have like a 48-hour window that you can disconnect from the world. But after that, you have to be like right back in it, hitting it just as hard, because otherwise the work that you do right now fills your funnel for 6 weeks out.
Yeah, so I want to put a quick pin in that discussion because I definitely want to go back to it. Before we go any further, for people who are watching who have product-based businesses, what does it mean to be in? I mean, we talk a lot about like outreach and knowing your market, but I think a lot of product-based businesses, they hear that and they think, oh, now I know how to market better to my ideal client or my ideal customer. But for someone who's selling a product, what does that distinction between sales and marketing look like?
Yeah, so it's a lot of reinventing your product. So always thinking, really knowing your target market, and then figuring out like where are they going next and trying to be ahead of them, right? So let's say that like Jen Long, I think you're still probably on here. She makes these wooden signs, and she's got a great company. She does hand paints them all, no vinyl, like she's hand painting everything. And she does it out of her home in upstate New York, single mama, like uses this company to really fuel her life, right? So,
yep.
Jen, put your link in the comments, if you will, because I'd love for other people to hook up on it. But, she has the sign business. And, Joey and I talk back and forth, and I talk with other clients about like how big is the bubble going to go of putting words and phrases on things, right? And when is that bubble going to bust?
Yep.
Because there's a good chance that at some point that bubble is going to bust, right? And so what does that next step look like for Jen and her signs? Now are we doing framed signs that have like a light blue background with words and it's not just white and black text? Are we like, you always have to be reinventing your product when you are in a product-based company to stay current with where your market is going, but also you kind of stop looking at other people's shit and just do what you do to the best of your ability without being like, it's toxic energy to follow other people in your industry. It's toxic because they lie on Facebook, they lie on social media, right? And so I don't know if I'm quite answering your question. I hope that I am. But the difference between marketing and sales for a product-based business is truly just being ahead of the curve and knowing your target market and your ideal buyer so well that like you can be in the fucking grocery store and be like, hey girl, you totally look like my kind of girl. I own a business and this is what I do. And if you ever need a sign for your house, I would love to hook you up. That's sales. Okay.
So in a lot, it's almost just like, it's not like a thing that you do on your computer. I mean, it can be, but it's not necessarily like when it comes to marketing, you have, SEO, you have, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Sales to me is more of a readiness to identify when there's somebody that might be a client and you start the conversation with them.
Yep.
And I think that's the big fear here is that, I mean, I get it too. It's hard to put yourself as a business owner in uncomfortable positions and set yourself up for potential failure because at least probably, I mean, unless you're super lucky, more than half of the people who you try and sell to are going to say no, but you're not being salesy. And let's hit on that real quick.
You know what? Yeah. Let's be fucking salesy. Let's be salesy. Go after that shit. Make that shit come together. Be salesy. Be fucking the person on your Facebook that every fucking day, 7 to 15 times a day, you're posting something related to your business. Be that person. Jen, I'm going to comment on your introvert thing. Let me tell you something about being an introvert. Everybody's an introvert. Everybody goes home and crashes and burns. Everybody disconnects. Everybody has days where they pull their hood up and they say, don't talk to me. I'm an introvert today. I don't want to be bothered. I wish you guys could see I've got a 5-foot by 7-foot beanbag in my office and I sleep in it because I'm an introvert, right? Labeling yourself as one thing or another is a story that you tell yourself that creates a wall and a barrier that eliminates your ability to hit your goals and succeed in the way that you were meant to do. And it's because somebody in your life told you that you're an introvert. And that's just something that you picked up and you held on to that and you said, I'm an introvert, so I can't do this. That's not true. I don't believe it. I love you. Jen and I have had long conversations, so she and I can go round and round. I just had this conversation yesterday, and I'm going to go real quick one more slide. Not let you interrupt. Failure is the key to success. If you don't know how to swim in failure and love failing and learning how to burn and learn and get fucked over and feel that pain, success is never going to mean a damn thing to you. You're never going to feel that enjoyment of what it feels like to have the highest high if you've never felt the lowest low. You should have opportunities where you sell to someone and you embarrass the shit out of yourself, and then they message you later and say, hey, during that meeting today, it was really rude when you pulled out a spreadsheet of my LinkedIn contacts and asking who I could connect you to. I've not done that, but I've had people do that to me, right? I've had sales where I said something wildly inappropriate, totally across the line, and they messaged me later and they were like, listen, I think you're a dynamite girl, but I didn't buy from you because of this. Mm-hmm. We need that failure to better understand that this is real life, right?
Yep.
You fall down the steps, you get drunk, you twist your ankle. Are you going to stop getting drunk? No, you're still going to get drunk. You're going to do it again, right? That's how you got to look at sales.
Yeah, you guys, I can tell from the comments people are loving this discussion. I knew it was going to be awesome. And when I brought Kate on, we were going to talk about this because I think it really hits home. Like, this is the issue, I think, when people really think about why they're struggling. Like, this is it. And so feel free to invite your friends if you know that they're business owners.
Share this out.
Like, this is going to be... Like, I'm going to start just, like, linking up to this video because I think that it's so important. And I think you're right, Kate. I think that us saying, like, oh, we don't really feel like we're the type of personality to be in sales, like, that is a story that you tell yourselves. But there's also, I think, an advantage. I share a co-working space with a sales team, and I was doing work. They were across the desk from me. I wasn't listening to the call, but at some point I heard something about... My sales buddy say to this person over the phone, look, you have a more introverted default personality. And in sales, that's actually like a unicorn. Because if you can figure out how to sell with that personality genuinely, a lot of your buyers will also have that. And so you'll be mirroring that. And yeah, like you can go out, whatever, but that a lot, there can be, a benefit to mirroring personalities when you start that. And if you are able to automatically genuinely have, because some people who are in sales, I get turned off because they're super high energy when they start the conversation and I'm not there when we start. And so, I mean, I'm sure Kate can talk more about like how that sales conversation can look like, or what that introduction, in the supermarket when you see somebody that looks like they might be a buyer sounds like. But just because you're introverted, and Kate, I wanted to make sure that we hit home with this.
Yeah.
Sales conversations are just you seeing if what you offer is a pain point for them. And if it is, like, that's the sale. Because you said this before, like, a sales call at its best is not being salesy. It's you letting them know, hey, it looks like you're having this struggle. Yes. I can help you.
And not being afraid to reach out to them, right? Yeah. And introvert, extrovert, let me just be honest with you. 15 years ago, people weren't saying, I'm an introvert, so I can't be successful in business, right? Because you didn't have people sharing memes and videos and labeling you and creating these checklists of all of these things, and you're ADD, or here's how OCD you are, take this test to find out. All of those things become things that you have 50 to 60,000 subconscious thoughts a day, right? Going through your brain, all right? And so when you so you got 50 to 60,000 thoughts going through your brain, and then you're like a mouse at a fire hydrant on the internet. So shit is flying past you. Some of it you're picking up, some of you're not even noticing is going, and some of it you're actually engaging and interacting with. You have 8 seconds. I'm getting a lot of shit for the logo I just released, okay?
Are you
I just
really?
pumped out a logo. I fucking love it. I love everything about my logo. If you want to check it out, go to Be Badass and Brilliant on Facebook. It's awesome. Please check it out. It's a light bulb, right? And the C is a little hidden. And then it says it says catalyst with the C and the light bulb and the catalyst, right? And the C is a little bit separated. And so people keep messaging me and saying, I just want to let you know that the C isn't quite defined enough. It was difficult for me to see it. Winner, I did what I wanted it to do, right? Because I want you to take more time to sit there and try to figure out what the hell that says, because the longer you stare at it, the longer imprinted in your brain it becomes. And then you might even take it to a friend and be like, hey friend, check this out. What does this say? You know, and that friend's going to be like, it says catalyst, dumbass. Like, what do you mean? And so it creates this conversation and this focus, right? And when we're working on social media, we have to create that focus. But in that being said, we did not have these labels 15, 30, 45 years ago in business. Nobody turned to certain people that have been super successful and said, well, he's got Asperger's and he's a pretty introverted and he has a hard time communicating. So, you know, that's how he is. So maybe he won't be successful. And yet he turned out to be wildly successful, right? And so that's where we want to step back from characterizing ourselves with these characteristics that other people have decided are a piece of our life. And I get it. It's fucking hard to walk up to a stranger and introduce yourself. It's hard. But that's why you got to know your pitches. You got to know who you're pitching to. You got to know what their pain points are. If you know the 3 foundational pieces, you can sell to anyone. And there are going to be times that you're going to sit in a meeting with somebody that you started out as a sales meeting and you're going to go, this person doesn't need me, or I don't like them. I don't even want to work with them.
Yep.
Trust your gut. Listen to your gut in that situation. Your gut's going to get tight. It's going to feel loose. It's going to feel happy. You're not even going to be worried about your gut, whatever. You're going to have some red flags there. And so.
Yep. Well, so let me step in here for a second. So
I know.
No, you're good. So to recap what you were saying, running a business is hard. And I think like my takeaway from there is, yeah, running a business is super hard. And so you can't let yourself get in the way of that. So any limiting beliefs that you're putting on yourselves as a business owner, or I don't want to say excuses, because I think that everybody in the group is trying and not giving up. But anything that you're telling yourself that, yeah, business is hard because I'm like X, whether or not it's true, whether or not like that is true, you have to
it's your reality.
You have to convince yourself that that's a story you're telling you.
Right.
And if you can get in that mindset of all of these limitations that I have as a business owner are keeping me, are just a story, and I can break through it. Yeah, like Kate and I know that like sometimes you perform in business, and when you start something, you come from a place of authenticity, but you're mirroring, you're elevating, because you understand that you're doing this for your business. Break the barriers of the label. Exactly. I love that.
I love it, Markel. You're speaking my language. I love it.
So let's, because I forgot where I was going, and so while I remember where I was going, let's talk about let's go back to the thing about don't go away on vacation, because I want to talk more about that. And I'm just being real with you guys. I took a 2-week vacation with my wife and mother-in-law a couple months ago, and it was fantastic. But I had been working with Kate since December and had really gotten a rhythm in sales and was getting steady increases each month. Then I went on vacation. I worked super hard to kind of close out funnels and finish all of my client files and let them all know, hey, like, I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. If it's a super emergency, here's what you can do. And I enjoyed my vacation. I came back and I had to start over, because all of that momentum that I was building had stopped. And the reality is that's just business. Like I had 5-6 sales calls lined up a week, and it's hard to be away for 2 weeks and then all of a sudden be at your calendar and you have those lined up again.
Right.
Proposals that were outstanding before the call didn't get closed. And I think vacation is an extreme way to say, like, you don't take a break from sales. Sales isn't something where you say, oh, once every couple of months I'll really focus on this sales thing because it's important. Or at the beginning of every month I'll do, like, this has to be something that is on all the time. And it's hard. It's really hard. But it only gets harder when you have your hands full with customers and clients.
Right.
And so the more you can, especially if you're at a place where you're building and you don't yet have a full load of customers and clients, figure this out now. Figure out what it looks like to, on the sales side, take somebody from point A to point Z, and really systematize what that looks like, get that routine down so that it becomes easier to walk through those steps when you have your hands full.
Well, and the other thing I think is even to, like, I mean, we're talking about, well, let me go back to the vacation piece, right? So when you become a business owner, you trade in a lot of the luxuries that come with working corporate, right? When you work corporate, you clock in, you clock out 9 times out of 10. You can take a vacation for a week, put it on a away message, and there are other people in your department that are going to handle that and take care of those clients, and it's like you are never away. When you are a business owner, you are trading in that luxury for working in Italy and sitting at a coffee shop in Italy and saying, like, I'm where my roots are and here I am working and loving my life, because business now is a lifestyle brand. You eat, sleep, breathe, live your business. And it's kind of a good thing because majority of your life expenses should be tax write-offs in that way, because everything you're doing is pretty much business related. Yep. If you want to be successful. If you don't, I mean, I've had conversations with people that are like, I just want it to be, $4,000 a month. I don't want to make any more than that. Okay. Well, then maybe you can take a 2-week break. But I got goals and plans and things I want to do, and I can't hit that off of being lackadaisical about it, right? Yeah. So that's like part one.
Or at least if you take a vacation, because next time I know to do this, like, you can internally as the business, take time off. But that doesn't mean that you take time off as a business on the sales side. That is something that has to be ongoing. Because
you have to be consistent in, the thing is that there's so many steps to being in business. And you and Andrea Hood have had a really good experience with me, intensively working with me to learn each of the foundational steps along the way. And it even goes into, once we figure out your base foundations, the ABCs, right, of target market, pain points, and value proposition, then we move into how are you outreaching? How are you making yourself a guru and an expert in your field? What does your social media look like? What is your sales? How are you selling? You know how many people I sit down with that are like, I'm in sales, I know how to sell. I'm like, cool, what's your sales method? And they're like, what do you mean? I just sell my product. No, it doesn't work like that. Like, what type of method do you really use? And then how do you take that formula and then use it across a Zoom chat or a phone call? Or how do you develop your product so that it expands further than just your community and you go national, right? Like, and then, having the formula of knowing your revenue goals and making sure that you're priced to thrive. I had a woman in here yesterday. She's not priced to thrive. Like, she's never going to be able to accomplish what she wants because of the barricades she's put around herself because she doesn't want to run her own billing.
So on the topic of price, I want to emphasize for everybody who's watching who's not familiar with what Kate does that I love her business model, because pricing is a huge part of what she does. Kate really looks at your business, figures out what are kind of pieces of what you're doing right now that are broken that if we fix can set you up on a right path. A lot of sales experts and business coaches are a continuous thing. It's kind of ongoing work. They delegate work off of your business. They do it for you. That shit
makes me sick.
And that's fine if your business reaches a certain point and you need to scale and you can afford to delegate stuff off. That's awesome. Kate's whole thing and why I love her so much is you stick with her for 6 months, a year, however long that relationship is. And Kate's hope for you is that you graduate from needing her. That you learn these fundamentals. She kind of ingrains them in what you're doing. And it's real, guys. Like, I was on calls maybe 3 months after Kate and I started working together, I was on some calls at home, and my wife was looking at me, and she was like, I could never like talk about my business the way she was like. I was listening, and you were like, you like just had these like off the cuff but canned ways of talking about your business. Like, how did you get there? And I was like, Kate and I just talk all the time, and you get to a place where you're there. I want to bring up something that Laurel Clark said. She asked, I'm wondering how to initiate those types of conversations, like when you are at a supermarket. So, Kate, when you're someplace and you don't really foresee a potential sales thing happening, and you see your ideal client, how do you start that?
Yeah, so I think it's a couple of ways. I mean, I think the first step to it is if you're someone who carries business cards. I'm not anymore. But if you are someone who does, the first step to just getting more comfortable with engaging in the community is to start putting your business cards in weird places. So, like, put them on top of the gas thing at the gas pump, right? Leave one on the counter at the gas station. Put one on the shelf at the grocery store, like under, next to a product that you love. Like, because what it does is it starts to drive similar people that you engage with, that might engage with you, in that way, right? And so you start out super basic by just putting your cards out there. This is a really good way to just become comfortable with it, right? Then you put it on every community board you can find. Then when the grocery store clerk asks you, how are you doing? You say, girl, I am exhausted. I have been working my buns off. And she says, what do you do for work? And I say, oh, I own da-da-da-da-da, right? And we support women who own a business, want to own a business, dream to own a business. Girl, give me your card. You got a card? I want your number. They're like finding me on Facebook. Their friend requesting me. I mean, I had to go pay. Listen, I'll be honest. Part of being a business owner for me is sometimes forgetting to pay bills, okay? Or, being too broke at some point in my life to pay them, right? Mm-hmm. So I talked to Joey last night. I was like, I've had every utility cut off that could get cut off. Mom, if you're watching this, don't worry. We got them paid. It's totally fine. But for a while, I had to go up and pay this bill for the sewer company because I just kept forgetting to pay the sewer bill. Whatever. I'll own it. It is what it is. And I was talking to the girl there, and I went in and paid one time, and then I went in and paid again, and I was like, the only checkbook I have, I've driven 25 minutes away from my house, was my business checkbook. And I was like, I'm just going to own it and mess up with it later, right? So I cut her this check, and she's like, what is Businesses Connect? I got to tell her what it was, and she was like, girl, I'm in. Let me friend request you. Like, let's talk. I want to have a nonprofit. So it's your job to try and figure out other ways to interact and engage and to think creatively about your business. And part of the problem with the internet is that you have so many fucking people telling you how to run your business. Yeah. And 99% of them don't know shit about running a business. So when you're sitting in these Facebook groups and these coaches who are in there for 9 hours a day or telling you how to run your business, think about that they have 9 hours a day to sit on a Facebook group and give away free advice.
Yeah, I love that because some hashtag real talk here. I was part of a company before I started Indie Law, and none of us really knew what we were doing, and so I was put in charge of like the marketing arm because I knew kind of technology. And so I read like every book I could. I followed whoever I could follow online, and like, yes, a lot of these people don't have the business experience to back up what they're saying. Or they don't have the bottom line sales thing, and all that their thing is, I will get you more Instagram followers. I can get you whatever, which is fine if you're like some people and you understand kind of like what that means and that can help you strategically. But Chris, you're right. The cat over there, he's annoying himself. But the where was I going with that? I just think, I completely lost my train of thought. I'll get it back.
It'll come back to you.
Thanks a lot, Chris, for interrupting me with Corey's cuteness in the back there.
Sorry, and I apologize for coughing. I've had this cough for months and forever. Here's the deal. I'll also break it down really legit with you. Multi-level marketing can really negatively impact the way that women and men feel the opportunity to promote on their personal business page. Okay. So when you have 9 It Works coaches or whatever on your Facebook, all promoting the same content, all of a sudden you move into this space in your brain where you're like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to do that, right? And the thing is the reason that burns a bridge for you is because it's the exact same content all the time. And unfortunately, they're being told that anyone who's ever had a baby that has a belly pouch or that might want to lose weight before a vacation is their target market. That's the really unfortunate part about MLM and being told content from the top versus figuring out your content from the bottom. And so when you go to market yourself online and you're building your own content, people want to see the messy, the dirty, the behind the scenes, the packaging, the corners of things. They want to see all of that. They want to hear about it. And you want to consider yourself like a Sims character. You guys remember the game Sims? Everybody had a diamond above their head. We want that diamond above your head to say what it is that you do in business so that when people see you, they see you for what makes you money.
So going back to what I forgot about earlier,
Boom.
On the marketing side, there's so much out there, and some of it's crap, some of it's not, but it's all like, here's an idea, here are tools, and there's a never-ending flood of stuff you can do on the marketing side.
There is.
But at the end of the day, like the idea is for you to sell and for you to do that in a way where you're making human connections. So if you can stay human with your brand and you can let people know that when they see you, because for a lot of us, we're solopreneurs, that when they see you, they think about the business.
Right. And I want people to know that I'm in sales. If you're coming to meet me, you're coming for a sales meeting. Like, I'm going to sell you something. Like, I'll sell you the damn wine glass off my table. I don't give a shit. Like, if you're coming to meet with me, we're in a sales meeting. You're either prepaying for a consult. I'm going to tell you about B3 Core, b3core.com if you want to check it out. We are doing something. I'm not afraid to be in sales. There's tons of if I see another freaking post from a female being like, here's how not to be in sales. I'm not Matilda's dad in the movie. I'm not slimy car salesman.
I love it because that's exactly who I think a lot of us are like, oh, we don't want to do that.
Every time. Ameren does not care if you can't pay your electric. They're going to cut that shit off. They don't care, right? And so it's your job to be in sales. If you own a branding company, you're in sales. If you own a local dance studio, you're in sales. If you own a music production company, which Mr. P's politician, I don't know what you do, but, you're in sales. That's what you do. And people need to be okay with that and own that space. Otherwise, get out of business. Like, if you can't say to yourself, I'm in sales, get out, because you're never going to make it. I'm not trying to be an asshole. It just is what it is. And you might have a good year where something goes viral, you post something to Pinterest and shit goes viral and you make $600,000. Awesome. Good for you. But you're still not really in business, because that's not knowing your target market, your pain points, or your value proposition. And you're not able to leverage those sales to leverage into $1 million of business the next year. You actually need to build ground up. It needs to hurt. You need to burn. You need to learn before you can really have that true success that's going to last a long time.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen a couple of things in the comments that were like, oh, yeah, like leaving a business card on the desk, would seem weird. And yeah, it does. And that's the other thing is, and I had, because I left being a courtroom litigator because I hated conflict. But sales is not comfortable.
So, all right, I'm going to cut you off though real quick. What's the difference between posting a Facebook ad and paying $15 for it to go out to your target market, and if you sell cloth diapers, dropping a shit ton of business cards around Babies R Us? What's the difference, right? There isn't anything. There's no difference. Whether you drop a business card on a shelf at a store that your target market shops at, keep in mind you have to know your target market to know where they're shopping. There is no difference between a paid Facebook ad and dropping out a penny business card, 500 of them.
Yeah, I think that's.
I dropped out 1,500.
I think that's so true, Kate. I think that it is no different. I think it feels different because it feels more. You feel like more personally exposed when you are personally doing this stuff than when you have this kind of filter of marketing to say, well, you're receiving this through Facebook or whatever, and if you don't like it, it's Facebook's fault. Like that,
yeah, but you don't need that cop out.
Yep. Agreed.
Right? You don't need that cop out. You just need to own your space And if you're in a grocery store, right? Like let's say Laurel, okay? Laurel is this amazing woman. You guys should totally check her out. She does dream interpretation. She teaches a lot on communication.
Yeah.
Every time Laurel speaks, people are like, oh my God, Laurel's speaking. Like, I need to go. I want more of her. I hear more from Laurel's in my networking group. I have a networking group, and then I own a business development, soul development platform, okay? Laurel's in my networking group. And every time somebody interacts with her, what they say to me the next time they see me is, Laura's cool as shit. Like, she's so cool, okay? So Laurel, I know when we sat down, we identified your target market as being like a 40-year-old male for one product that you offer, okay? That one product of going into a corporate and helping them communicate and get more in tune with themselves is not what you're doing every day, right? So if you're doing dream interpretation and you see a young girl, got messy bun, she might have a toddler, she's got on a yoga, eat, sleep, yoga lifestyle shirt with yoga pants, give the girl a business card. Say, hey, I don't know if you believe in dream interpretation, but this is what I do, and I would love to interpret into your dreams. Something about your energy really drew you to me. Pay attention to energy. Pay attention to the people that are around you everywhere. I mean, I start conversations with people in the fucking train station. I don't care. I'm like, what's your story? I just ask them. I always ask people, what do you wish you did, dream, or what do you dream to do, currently do, or did you do? And they're like, what? Because people don't ask that question, right? So think about things that are going to create that conversation. Knowing those target markets are really key to that conversation. That's what I got.
You got some more positive comments up here. So I'm loving this, Kate, and we can wrap up in a little bit. I just want to say that I think it was Miles who said earlier in the comments that this is good advice. It's a little overwhelming, and yeah, I think the overwhelming part comes when you think about, how am I going to implement this, or how can I start acting on it? Because
we're not overwhelming. She said seasoned writers and overwhelmed by their advice.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying. It was a white.
That's important, right?
It's a white text on a white background screen, right. So it's sometimes hard to read what people are saying. But I have felt sometimes overwhelmed by the tasks that I need to do on the sales side. And that's also where Kate's business's help comes in, because there's a built-in accountability there. Yeah.
Well, you have to have accountability, right?
Yep.
I'm going to touch on Miles real quick, though. Here's the deal. It goes back to, again, the best information that you're going to get is from publishing a book on Amazon and seeing what happens. Popping up in a local bookstore and doing a chapter read. Engaging with people who are following you. Having a conversation with a bookstore owner. What kind of books do people buy in here? What are they looking for? Start interviewing different bookstores owners in different cities. You know, is a paperback book better for people? Are they buying more online? Where are you seeing them? Ask bookstore owners, because they're actually running with your target market versus asking other writers, right? And people will give advice all day long, but 90% of it's bullshit. So you got to really look at, like, where is the advice coming from? And are they a successful writer? Just because you're seasoned and you've been writing for the Post-Dispatch, which is our local newspaper, for 35 years, doesn't necessarily mean that you know shit about selling a book on Amazon. So if you're trying to sell your book on Amazon, look for people that have had bestsellers on Amazon, find their email, connect with them on LinkedIn, and send them a little note that says, hey, I'd love to check it out. There are actually 9 bookstores in St. Louis. So if you Google it up, there's tons of bookstores all over Townsville. So there is lots of opportunity to be interacting with people. Let me say this. Okay, you want to look at, if you're a writer, or creative, you paint, you want to have your stuff in an art gallery, don't be talking to other painters that don't have their shit in art galleries. Talk to the art gallery owner, right? Talk to these people that are selling art. What is it that people love? What are they looking for? How can I work my craft to hit what they need? Sorry, I just wanted to hit that. I don't know what your other question was. I blocked it out.
That was great. But I just want to talk about how accountability is a part of what Kate's business B3 is. Is B3 core? Sometimes I forget what the language is. B3 core what people can buy into?
Yeah, so it's b3core.com. The brand is Be Badass and Brilliant. So it's like Nike, right? Nike sells t-shirts and yoga pants and shoes and all these different products. We have B3 Core, which is a product. We have Ignite Your Inner Badass Conference coming out in February, another product. which is going to be so awesome. So, there's lots of products underneath Be Badass and Brilliant, but B3 Core is a product. So accountability is a big piece of it because it's very easy to allow your subconscious thoughts to overrun your brain space and for you to get lost in the day-to-day, to feel overwhelmed. And when you have accountability, you can say, hey, I'm feeling so overwhelmed about my logo choices. And I can say, did you have a sale this week? And you say, no. And I say, then don't worry about the fucking logo. Doesn't matter.
Amen.
Doesn't matter. Right? So we can move past that. There's this huge, I just had a phone call with a girl yesterday about marketing, right? Because there are a couple of companies out there that if you buy into them, they will market you to all these new businesses up and coming in the area. Let me tell you, you can get that list for free from the library. Point one. Okay? If you want to know the new businesses up and coming in your area, go to the library, get a library card, and they will print you out a list of all the new businesses with their contact info. It's really annoying and super amazing all at the same time. So, little sales tip, how to get your leads, right? So, in that process of talking to this girl yesterday where she was really overwhelmed about where does she invest her money, what came out of that conversation, I think that's really important, is that when you have accountability, when you have all of these overwhelming things that you're trying to figure out, what we really want to be doing is identifying down what are the things that you're doing that are making you money. If you are doing things that aren't making you money, then stop doing them because they're not working and you don't need to be doing them, right? So if I ever found that speaking to large groups of people didn't have any type of return, I didn't make a new friend, I didn't meet a new soul that I loved, I didn't feel like I impacted someone or changed their life, I would probably stop speaking. Because really, it's a lot of work to get on, talk freely, know your content. Like, there's no prep behind this. This is all like the shit that I do every day. So I don't have like a list. When I look to the right, I'm looking at my phone to see who's commented or what else is going on. So what we want to do is we want to help you get to know your content so well that you're able to know your buyer so well that then you can say, like, am I making money selling this? No, I'm not. Cut it. Is this a pain point for people that I'm a solution for? No, I'm not. Cut it. So it goes down to pivot, perish, or persevere. And you have to be able to be willing to pivot from something that's not working, kill it off if it's not doing you any good, or persevere through it and say, God damn it, you people don't understand me. I'm going to keep going until I find someone that does. And so you get to make that choice.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, like, I think that so much of what Kate does is just, and how it helps me is getting away from toxic energy and toxic people. And a lot of this is that if your business is making money and you're thriving, those tend to be in like a place where you should be thriving, where it feels good. And if there's a part of the business that is tough or not working or is making you upset or frustrated, that might be a signal to your gut that this is a part that's not resulting in sales.
Right.
That's different than it being uncomfortable or challenging. But I think that there's so many like good vibes behind the energy of what Kate is doing. And I think this is a show mostly for creative entrepreneurs and small businesses. But this idea, Chris just did like hashtag the 3Ps, like that idea. I know,
men are keeping him.
It's so helpful for any business because if you're still trying to get to a place of sustainability, you should be pivoting all of the time.
Yep. Always. And you have to know your buyers, right? So that you know where they're going next. Here's what I learned in Nexus, right? So I had this women's organization. We were in 5 cities, pushing 300 women. We had a yearly fee. And I was teaching them all the time business development for free. Like, I wasn't taking my own advice. And one of my biggest pieces is pick the nuggets that you're willing to give and then don't give any more. Because you don't have to give any more. If you're really good at what you're doing and you're walking in the light and the path is lit, then you actually don't have to work for free, right? And you shouldn't work for free. That's ridiculous. So, and there's lots of boundaries and things that we can help you create that you don't have to work for free. So, now I lost my train of thought. I got off on the free tangent.
I'm all with you. people, stop giving away your stuff for free.
Yeah, like don't do that anymore. That's ridiculous. So in Nexus, though, I realized that the real pain point of my buyers was not that they necessarily needed connections to people, because they didn't know what to do with the connections they had, right? They have access to 300 business owners. They have no idea how to leverage this. They don't know how to collaborate. I would connect them to other people and they would never respond. What the fuck? Get on a phone call. Say, I don't even know what to do with this, but let's grab a phone call. Like, so stupid. They had all of these connections. They still do. So if you guys are watching, you know that I love you, but this is part of the disconnect, right? Yep. Is that you don't know how to access the network and how to leverage it. And I found myself teaching all the time. And so what I realized is that, I don't want to spend my whole life selling Nexus memberships. I don't want to try to convince you that you should join this incredible network of first-generational women business owners who are kicking ass and taking names. Like, if you can't figure that out, then I don't know what to tell you. But I don't want to spend an hour, 4 hours a day, four different women teaching or convincing them to buy, right? I want to spend my time changing your freaking business and teaching you how to build better business. And so that became the real pain point, which is then how B3 Core came about, was that I had this branding of Be Badass and Brilliant. I was like, that's a badass brand. What am I going to do with that? Boom. I'm going to create something that's going to be dynamite and kick ass. And I'll be really honest with you guys. We talked about this last night, Joey and I. We officially started B3 Core on June 18th. We did betas from about mid-April to like end of May, so we could kind of work it out. It's a $3,300 a month revenue generating company. I need to close $1,700 before I hit $5,000 a month, and I plan on doing it by August 15th.
Awesome.
So if you are somebody that's in my follow-up list, I'm coming for you. Just so you know, I'm coming for you, because not only do I want to hit that goal for myself, I want to hit it for all of you guys.
Yep.
So that I can help you to better understand how you can create sustainable revenue in your business that helps you stay long-term in this crazy world that we live in business at this time.
I love it, and I think that it to me it's not surprising at all, Kate, that Be Badass and Brilliant is hitting this, because I think it's like a lot of times I say, like, I try and push some of the guests that I bring on to say, like, can you provide a context for how foundational what you're offering is to buyers? And I really respect that a lot of them say, yeah, like, it's not really the first step, but after the business is growing, it can be super helpful. And Kate, like, Be Badass and Brilliant really is like a first step investment for a business. And so I think it's so great to have. I know I want to respect that we're going a little over.
Yeah.
But we
Smile.
Hey. So
that'll be on Instagram later.
I want to end things off with something that who's ever watching, I want you guys to take me up on this. One of the great things that I took away from working with Kate was having a introduction bio kind of ready to go. And so it's kind of like a 3-part statement where you say, I am this, I own X, my business offers this. And so Kate, will you run through what that is for your business?
Yeah, so for Nexus, I own a women's entrepreneurial support and opportunity creator for first-generational business owners. So that's sort of the mouthful pitch. The follow-up is that we help business owners go from where they are to where they want to be using the avenues, the connections, and the community that they need to get there. So that's kind of the Nexus space. For Be Badass and Brilliant, B3 Core, all we really have at this moment in time, honestly, things have been exploding. We're up to about 40 members on that platform. And so right now what it is that we are a business and soul development platform for people
I love that.
Who want to, get lit about their passions and ignite their inner badass. And the thing about the mouthful pitch, and if you guys follow me or you get involved in my world, I talk a lot about pitching. I talk a lot about target market. Those are kind of and networking. So networking and target market are my 2 giveaways to you, that I will give you those free nuggets 24/7. I'm not going to teach you how to sell for free. There are a lot of things that you won't get for free from me because I value myself and the worthiness that I bring to the table, and I want you to do it as well. If you struggle with valuing yourself or feeling worthy, hop on to Be Badass and Brilliant. Check out the 4 I Ams. I did a live video on it yesterday. Really, really great content. And so the thing about the mouthful pitch is that it allows you to knock people off kilter, and it forces them to say, literally every time you create a mouthful pitch and you say it about your business, people will always say, oh, that's such a mouthful. Tell me more. And then you get to throw in your storyline, which is what really paints the picture for them.
Yep.
The problem with pitching, and when you guys stand in these rooms of these networking groups and you say the same pitch over and over because you're meeting with the same 30 people every week, the problem that comes from that is that people tune you out. They don't listen. They're not listening. They don't intend on listening. They've heard you, so they're good to go. And so if you're pitching, if you're like in a BNI or a chamber and you're pitching the same every week, you want to kind of change that up a little bit with what you're trying to achieve that week. But you want this mouthful to be words that people don't hear very often, so they can't put you in a box. If I said I founded a women's networking group, you'd be like, I know about networking. I'm good. I don't need to talk with her. When in reality, you don't know anything about my organization. I run it a 180 from everybody else, and it has a huge impact in the way that people engage in their businesses, you know? And so that's what you want people to have for your business.
Yeah, and I think that that's so helpful. It's been helpful for me to understand that when I am pitching or explaining my business to people, I have different choices and then like different follow-ups that I could have available, which is awesome. And again, a lot of people are saying, like, I was like, well, what do I do if it's completely cold? And then Kate said, go back to that, you know, I am, I own, I offer. And I encourage people, if you're watching, I'm going to put this in the description. Let's have that first step now. In the comments, test out, let us know kind of what that pitch is. So say I am, you know, give your name, say I own whatever your business is, and then say, you know, we offer, and then describe what your business offers.
But the key point to that is that you want to make sure that you do it in like 7 to 10 words.
Yeah.
So I'm Kate Brockmeyer, founder of, so you don't have to say I own XYZ, founder of Nexus. We are a women's entrepreneurial support and opportunity creator for first generational business owners, right? And so what you really want, I'm going to cut you off.
No.
I think that it's great if you guys want to take a stab at it and pop it in the comments. I'll try and give you guys some critiques if that would be helpful to you. But really what you want to do is you want to write out 7 to 10 sentences that really, for you, are the essence of your company and what you do. And then you want to go through and underline and highlight words that really stand out so you can get rid of all the it, the, we, do, are, a, all the little bitsy words. And then you can underline and highlight those. And then you go and find synonyms to those words online that people don't hear very often. We hear entrepreneur, but we don't hear entrepreneurial. And so that in itself, like, jars people and throws them off a little bit. It's like Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. So you want your audience that you're talking to weeble, right? And be a little off kilt on like what it is that you're saying.
Oh, I love that. And if people do comment, I don't want to put Kate under pressure where there's no expectation that either of us are going to kind of police or offer responses to feedback here. But this is but feel free to use the comments as that scratch pad if you kind of want to start working this stuff out, because it is super helpful.
Real fast, I'm going to hack Sarah May real quick, okay? So I'm Sarah May. I am the founder of Silk City Coffee. We are I would say something like gourmet or organic or this creative coffee, brick and mortar, and pastry corner shop. Yeah, like something that's going to that people are going to be like, wait, a what? Because when you say coffee shop, I immediately picture a coffee shop in my brain. And so therefore I don't have to come to your coffee shop. I already know a coffee shop. So you want to hack that space for them, that you do something more than what they already know. Does that make sense? Sarah, feel free to reach out to me if you'd like. Laurel, you're great. We've run through yours quite a few times. So, kind of breaks it out a little differently. But, we want to take the word coffee and find synonyms for coffee and for specialty and for shop and for bakery. And that makes it something that people are like, whoa, I have never been to Silk City Coffee. Where the hell is that? When we go on vacation, we are driving through Sioux City Falls, Iowa, so that we can get ourselves some Silk City Coffee, because that shit's amazing, right? So that's how you want it to
I love that. Yeah, because you want it to stand out and be different, and it also it takes some work to get there, but man, it feels so nice when you can roll that off the tongue, or you just have that to, if people send a message to you and they're like, hey, what do? You don't have to think and kind of recreate what your bio is every time you think about it. Put in the work now, fine tune what that is. And it really, really helps.
Yeah, and it just becomes like not yet. Sorry, it was just really loud on my video. Sorry, my office. It's really hot in my office right now. It's probably about 92 degrees because I turned off the AC so that we didn't have this constant fan coming on. So my office mate was like, "You want me to turn that on?" I'm like, no, we're good. But yeah, it's the mouthful pitch, and that's what you want to remember it as. And it's a pitch that you use for your business that engages people to either ask you questions or to connect with you. And so following that pitch up, like if we're going to talk sales, right? Marketing is just putting that out there with a picture that says, come to Silk City Coffee, right? But sales is saying, hey, Kate, we're located in XYZ city. We offer the best chocolate silk mocha iced that you could ever get. And we have a chocolate cream pastry that goes with it. And you're going to want to come by and see that, and really like you want to pull that buyer in to you so that I say, girl, where are you located at? And then what you want to do is have 3 questions prepared that you're going to ask me that are going to help you become more of a solution to my needs. So like, girl, are you an early riser or a late night kind of girl? And I'm going to be like, girl, I'm an early riser. And she'll be like, good, we open at 6 a.m. Most brick and mortar coffee shops don't open until 7, 8, or 9 a.m. If I could get a local brick and mortar that opened at 6, I'd be freaking in, right? And then you want to ask me like, do you use Wi-Fi? Girl, because we have free Wi-Fi. Redco knocks you off their Wi-Fi after an hour. It's so obnoxious. Go local, right? So you want to do those types of questions to pull people back in here.
Apologies to my wife, Kat, who works with me.
I'm sorry, Kat. I love you.
But it's so true. I hate it too.
Redco is the least friendly eating space ever.
Well, and the reality, and I love Panera. Panera,
my bad.
They don't want you to stay there. They want you to eat.
They don't.
Yeah.
Right, and that's their target market, right?
Yep, and their target market prefers it that way.
Right. They're not planning on spending all day there. It just gets lost in the business world. So when people are like, meet me at Redco, I'm like, no. I'm sorry. I'm not doing that. And so that's, again, goes into target market. Like, what are the boundaries that you create for your buyer within your business that say who you're for and who you're not for?
Yeah.
Boom. Love it.
I love it. A lot of knowledge has been dropped in this video. Kate, I'm sure we're going to do this again.
I love it.
If you guys have any follow-up questions, or, I really do encourage you guys to kind of, the first next step should be, get to work on what those pitches. I think that's a really good first thing that you can do now. You don't have to worry about necessarily having to talk to anybody else about it, but really fine-tune what that message is internally. Feel free to reach out to Kate if you'd like. I can let you know what I think, as someone who works with a bunch of creatives, what I think it would sound like. But Kate, we'll definitely do this again. Thank you so much for coming here. And you guys really, if you started watching this at some point and got maybe knocked off and then came back on, I encourage you to watch this the whole way through and take into account all of like the golden nuggets that Kate has said, because I think that this video has so much share value. And now whenever you hear people talk about marketing or sales, or, you see in a Facebook group that people are saying, hey, which of these 10 logos do you like the best? You can say, are you sure that's what you want to be focusing on? And then just link up to this video.
All right, let me do one more, cut you off. I'm very sorry. Feel free to leave us if you have to. I'm just going to follow up with Ian real quick. Because when you guys give the feedback, it helps me to reword what I'm saying so that I make sure it has the most impact for you, right? And so, and when we think about these synonyms, we also, not only do we want them to throw our buyer off, weeble wobble, not only do we want that, but we also want to make sure that the words resonate with our target market. So words like recipient still kind of put people in a box. It's like if you're a medical provider and you use the word patient, right? Maybe you're a chiropractor and you're like, we work with patients who. Okay, well, patient is going to put it into a different category than if you said we work with individuals who, right? And so although it's important to line out these synonyms that knock them, that make them wobbly, it's also important to make sure that you're using words that your target market is going to be attracted to. Okay, does that make sense? Recipient isn't necessarily going to pull that in. And so it might be something like, I know Anne really well, so it might be like, I am a artist, I am a handcrafted artist who, who creates one of a kind wine glasses for an occasion that really brings home the flavor and the love to the table. I don't know. I made that shit up. But you get what I'm saying, right?
I mean,
like,
I just, every time I see a piece of Anne's work, I'm like, how did a human being
do right?
that?
Seriously, Anne, it's amazing. Check out Breakfast with a View. Just throwing it out there. Now, you guys can I throw down where I can be found?
Yep.
They can track me down
Please
later.
do.
I'll add my information in the comments as well. You are welcome to friend me on Facebook. It's just Kate Brockmeyer. It's my headshot now. Also, you can find me at Be Badass and Brilliant on Facebook. You can check out B3 Core at b3core.com. If you are interested in getting possibly a ticket to Ignite Your Inner Badass in February, I'm going to be releasing all of those details on August 1st, and it's going to be really freaking amazing, unlike anything you've ever gone to. It's going to be education, implementation, and then doing a lot of shit that's going to hack your barriers and your walls, and it's going to literally be a life-changing experience. So I'm really excited about that. So follow me in all those places. Connect up with me. Send me a freaking message. Don't send me you can send me an email, but make sure it's between 5 and 7 a.m. The only way you're going to get me on email between 5 and 7. But I would love to connect with you guys, talk with you, and see if there's a way that we can work together. I can support you to get yourself to that next step.
Awesome, you guys. I couldn't recommend Kate more. If you are at a place where business is going well, you are starting to build up profit and assets, and you're thinking about protecting things, let's talk. Because Indie Law's got some really awesome services for you, and if you know that you could use some protection, you're not sure what, let me know. We can hop on a discovery call. If you don't feel like you're there yet, talk to Kate. Like, those are your two options.
And if you own a brick and mortar, you should trademark your name. Whether you're a restaurant or a coffee shop or you are a bookstore, whatever it is, if you own a brick and mortar, you should be trademarking. Totally. Even if you rent your building, you should still be trademarking. It's worth it. I mean, we've built out for Joey a really great subscription plan that works out, that's really user-friendly. He's gone with my revenue formula. There is a target market of people that it really works best for. However, there are lots of spaces that you can work with him and play through it. So, Joey, thank you so much. I absolutely love doing this with you. I swear we should play it like weekly or something. And we'll have you guys, I hope you have a kick-ass, kick names kind of day.
All right, you guys. Have a great one. See you soon. Bye.